Gli do il benvenuto. Hello Christopher, welcome.
Hello Christina, so
Hello,
nice to see you.
hello. Allora vi presento Christopher Barth, abbiamo avuto il piacere di conoscerlo lo scorso anno nell'ambito di un grande evento internazionale sulla loyalty. Christopher è Head of CRM, Customer Data and Analytics per la grande azienda di moda internazionale Hugo Boss. A questo punto, Christopher, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Christina. It's with great pleasure for me to talk to you this morning about some of the things that we've been doing at Hugo Boss, especially within the last couple of months in this very challenging time. I hope that you can hear me okay. I'm talking to you from my Black Forest headquarters here in the south of Germany, just about 100 kilometers west of the Hugo Boss headquarters. We've been sent to home office for the past months. So I hope that the quality is okay, and I hope that you can hear me well. It's been crazy times for all of us, and for many of us personally and also professionally. First of all, let me say that I hope that everyone is okay, staying healthy at this very difficult period of time. Allow me to, when I now start talking about some of the things that we at Hugo Boss have been doing during the pandemic, allow me to focus on the professional side of things only, and see how and talk a little bit about how this very difficult time for all of us has been also a great opportunity for all of us being involved with data, being involved with customer loyalty management, customer experience management, and customer relationship management. As the crisis hit us and all of us sometime end of February, beginning of March, all eyes were on us. At Hugo Boss, within a period of a few weeks, 3/4 of all of our stores were closed, and organic footfall across the globe decreased to a minimum. Minus 80% we saw in the most difficult times. And of course, suddenly everyone was looking at us to make sure that we keep in touch with our customers, and that we use our lifeline to our broad customer base, and especially our loyal customer base, to keep the business running. As we started to review our strategies in the first couple of weeks of the crisis, there was 3 main elements for us to focus on, and I'll talk about those in more detail later in the presentation. But in general, at the beginning, it was all about keeping the cash flowing, and making sure that in a period of total lockdown, where basically all of our stores were closed and organic footfall in our physical retail was down to a minimum, that we keep the cash flowing in terms of making sure that customers reach our online offerings through a range of different touch points, and that we use our marketing capabilities, especially with a strong focus on performance, and put efficiency KPIs at aside for a certain amount of time. When we started to move out of the full lockdown across the globe, it became obvious that the focus was shifting to clienteling. And when we say clienteling, we mean that it's our intense and very personal work with our top customers, from the stores, store employees, reaching out to our customers and making sure that our top clientele, our top customers feel well consulted, well taken care of, and still have the opportunity to reach us and reach our product offering. And then the third element that we were looking into is, how can we use our personalization capabilities at scale in such a changed and difficult period of time, with such dramatic changes in consumer behavior, to still drive business in the broader mass of our customer base, beyond what we do in our personal and one-to-one relationships with our top customers. Before I dive into that, I think it might be interesting for you to get a bit of an understanding, a bit of feel what the scope of CRM or customer experience management at Hugo Boss is. So we manage 45 markets centrally from Germany with a fully harmonized, fully integrated customer data platform, fully integrated business processes, an integrated loyalty program. There's one single access to e-commerce across the globe, one single access to all of our omnichannel services, all managed centrally from our headquarters in Germany. And of course, as every big organization and every important topic needs a vision and a video that gets across our vision, we have the same, and I would like to share that vision and the video with you now. Yes, thank you. I was just made aware that sound seems to be difficult, so I try to speak up, and I lowered my microphone. I hope that you can hear me okay. I really do. So sorry for that if it was difficult to understand at the beginning. So thanks for sharing that video, guys. And again, in terms of the vision as such, not much has changed due to the changes within consumer behavior due to the pandemic. Of course, store staff now wears masks, and we try to avoid, and we do avoid physical contact with our customers as much as possible. But in terms of the vision and how we use customer data, not much has changed in the last couple of months. And if people ask me, well, what's special, or what's your core belief in terms of how customer loyalty and customer experience management should look like, my answer would be something similar to what you see on this slide. First of all, we have a very global mission. We've been working on a fully integrated system from the very beginning, and we started with the data at the core. So before we started to build fancy personalization logics across our touch points, we started with the data. And we built a strong data core, a fully integrated and harmonized data core with a harmonized customer data governance across the globe, an integration of so anonymous user data and member data from the get-go, and an analytics layer that allows us to quantify customer behavior across a range of different dimensions. By now, and this is going back for 4 years, we're talking about something like 400 individual scores that we do keep and do calculate, either predictive scores or simple flags that quantify past consumer behavior on how our customers interact through a range of different analytical models. And we use this analytical layer across all of our touch points. And we use one central business logic across all of our touch points so that each touch point, whenever there is a individual customer interaction, immediately knows this customer is meant to be driven in such a direction in terms of a certain marketing objective, and is using the same level of data, the same level of insight as any other touch point across the ecosystem would. So let us look into those 3 elements of our strategy review that I mentioned earlier. As I said at the beginning, it was all about cash flow and making sure that we leverage our broad reach. We increase the frequency of communication per member, and we create new selling moments. And as many of our competitors, and probably across all of the industries, have done, we needed to act fast. So within a week, we completely overworked our promotion calendar, and you see a screenshot on the right. We added new and additional flash sale moments. We used our broad knowledge about what works and what does not work with customers, and especially within our target customer base, to keep the cash flowing in terms of driving customers to online retail, and making sure that we do see the revenue coming in, and that we do see substantial increase of online revenue during the full lockdown period. In terms of customer communication, we did increase the frequency of communication with our customers during that difficult period of time by about 2 additional contacts per month. We were very sensitive about the fact that this might create wear-out effects and also might increase unsubscription rates. So we were monitoring all of those negative potential effects very closely. We were monitoring the fact how, especially within email communication, how our sender scores were developing, to make sure that we're not overstretching our possibilities, and making sure that we keep leveraging the broad reach into our customer base. We keep the capability to drive customers to our online offering during those times of flash sales, while protecting on the other side our strong reputation with our customers, and especially with our most loyal customers. In terms of performance marketing, basically within all of the marketing activities that we did, it was a period of time where efficiency KPIs, profitability KPIs needed to step down for a certain amount of time. We defined new profitability targets for this period of time, and we managed our entire performance marketing budgets against an open budget scenario, meaning as long as we were keeping that minimum target of profitability guaranteed, we managed our budgets completely open and drove as much traffic to our online offerings as possible during that very difficult period of time. Overall, we made it through that period, April, May, June, with an increase of about 50% in e-commerce revenue during that period of time compared to last year. Looking into the second element, clienteling, or how we work with our top customers. As soon as the stores started to reopen across the globe, we did leverage our great relationships that we do have with our top customers. And we did leverage our strong footprint of tailors out there. We have about 1,500 doors across the globe. We have roughly 7,000 store employees that are all very capable tailors and have strong customer relationships to many of their top customers. And we did leverage that to an extent that helped us close the gap in physical retail compared to 2019. The first element was an enhanced customer profile. So in the past years, we've been putting a lot of effort into that analytics layer that I've mentioned earlier, and creating a range of different scores that quantify customer behavior. All those scores in the end result in a CRM marketing objective. So whenever a store employee has an interaction with a customer, whether it's initiated by him or herself, or the customer reaches out to the store directly, the first thing that they see when they check their customer profile is the marketing objective. And it's a very simple set of marketing objectives. It's about 4 or 5 different marketing objectives across the customer life cycle. And we've trained our retail staff to an extent that they understand if the marketing objective is reactivate or upsell, what does that mean in the follow-up process? What does that mean in terms of the product recommendations to make? What does that mean in terms of the customer profitability that I need to protect or guarantee to receive? And what does that mean in terms of when should I try to reach out to a customer? When is an individual customer potentially overdue? And based on that piece of information for each and every customers, we have a standardized customer outreach process in place that allows our store staff to reach out to each customer via a range of different channels. Telephone, SMS, email being the most prominent channels to be used. And we made sure that while we have a standardized process, which we also incentivize, each store employee gets targets on the number of customers to reach out during the course of the week. Each store employee has targets on the number of customers that need to become active, that need to transact with us. We make sure that we provide so-called reasons to call on a continuous basis. Most of the time it's weekly, where we simply look at different types of developments, either macroeconomic developments or developments within our industry or within how customers react to certain product offerings, or how customers interact with our content online. And we provide those segments, those customer segments that fall into a certain type of context, a certain type of behavior to each store employee, for him to reach out to those customers in the broader context of what I just mentioned. And then also what Christina mentioned, we have, according to market needs, we have a range of different opportunities for customers then, even though they're not there, they're not able to come to visit the store or are reluctant to come to the store. We have a range of opportunities out there to create a virtual shopping experience, to allow them to check out remotely, get their products delivered to home, or pick them up curbside from store. Overall, what we did see is it was our most loyal customers that we could rely on, and it was our great customer relationships and the strong loyalty that some of our store employees have created with their top customers in that very difficult period of time. It was the most loyal customers that allowed us to keep going and to put ourselves in a fairly good position. And from a KPI perspective, during that period of time, we were able to increase retention rate by 100%, to double retention rate in that same period compared to previous year, due to the fact that our store employees had such a strong outreach to their customers. And finally, in terms of personalization at scale, automation, recommendations, with organic footfall being down and the fact that within fashion, we could no longer fully rely on those two big selling moments across the year, which within fashion are the two sale phases, which drive quite a substantial amount of revenue, not so much profitability, but revenue across the year for a fashion company. We could no longer rely on the fact that customers at quantity, at volume, would come shop in those periods of time, and we saw that in spring, summer during the sale phase. So we needed to find new ways to create selling moments across the year, while protecting profitability, taking into account the past consumer behavior, the customer value, the customer lifetime value, how the individual customer is developing, how the customer has been migrating, as well as the individual and ad hoc context of an individual customer interaction. And based on that customer data platform and the flexible analytics layer, we were able to increase net sales per recipient by 20% in that difficult period of time. We were testing different types of analytical models to see how the changed consumer behavior was affecting our results. Within a few weeks, we realized that the type and the business logic that we had applied for product recommendations was no longer was no longer working as well during and after the lockdown and with the changed consumer behavior. So within a few days, we decided to use a different analytical model to make product recommendations, and suddenly we were seeing that all of our KPIs were turning green again. So coming back to that picture and where we came from, one of the elements that we've always very much put focus on is keeping that flexibility in terms of the data and the analytical and the business logic, and the analytical layer and business logic, to make business decisions depending on the need out there in the market or across markets in difficult times like these. Coming to my last slide, I hope that the sound was okay in the end. The months after lockdown saw 3 consecutive positive months in terms of the net sales that we are responsible for, which is a substantial part of our owned retail total revenue. And we, after a few weeks, we were already surpassing 2019 numbers in terms of number of existing loyal members being active with us. So overall, it's fair to say from our perspective that as the crisis hit, we stepped in and we were able to help the organization make it through that very difficult period of time. And of course, as we're now heading towards probably new regional lockdowns in many of our markets, we hope to continue that journey and further support the organization and our markets as we have in the last couple of months. That's it from my side. Again, I hope the sound was okay, and I hope that we'll see each other and talk to each other again during the Q&A. Feel free to post questions. I'm happy to answer those if I can in the Q&A session. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Christopher.